back to Dolphins United, the platform for Dolphins. You heard. We are back in the house. It's been a minute. But I've been waiting on Vic Fangio all this doggone time, and I'm just tired of waiting. How long we got to wait for a man to sign with us? At some point, you start to realize, okay, the girl don't want me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in school, and you had that little letter you would pass on. You write the little note when you go out on a date with me, yes or no. And she get it, she read it, she don't say nothing right away. You be like, all right, maybe I'll get it tomorrow after, you know what I'm saying? You even put on there, don't say nothing just yet. Just think about it for a little bit and then get back to me. Right? Day or so go by. 2 days go by, she ain't even making eye contact. 3 days go by, you're like, man. 4 days go by, it's like, bro, like, I don't even think she want me. Like, in this case, Vic Fangio was like, you know what I'm saying? He read the letter, he smiled. Like, he smiled, he gave you that, you know what I'm saying? You see him from across the room, he smiled. Like, dang, I'm in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told her to think about it. She gonna get back to me tomorrow. Tomorrow come, nothing. Next day come, nothing. All right, now, I mean, it's interchangeable. You know what I'm saying? If you're a female, I don't know, I'm traditional, so, I believe a man should pursue a woman, you know what I'm saying? But, hey, the way the world is going nowadays, yeah. But anyway, so I'm coming from a traditional sense that a man should pursue a woman, all right? So, you sitting there, you know what I'm saying? You reading body language, and after a few days, it just don't look good no more. Because that first smile when they was reading the letter is gone. They ain't even trying to make eye contact. So Vic Fangio is doing that to us. At some point, it's like, bruh, he don't want us. All right, he don't want the Dolphins. So let's just go ahead and find us another guy. That girl don't want me. All right, and it's cool because there's plenty of fish in the sea. In our case, it's a couple more fish in the sea. It ain't plenty, but we can go find us another defensive coordinator. It ain't gonna be him, but he don't want you. That's how I'm starting to feel. All right, but I'm tired of waiting. I've been trying to wait so I can put that video out. I'm tired of waiting. So we just going to talk about something else in the meantime while that man figure out if he wants us or not. All right. Let's talk about Tua. Tua today just came off a concussion protocol. All right. So he can play next week. Yes. No. Ain't no next week. So now we got to wait till preseason to see Tua again. Womp womp. It is what it is. He got to be better. But I want to come to y'all because I'm a type of dude, if I hear something a lot, then I'm going to go fact check to make sure that it's factual. And if it ain't factual, and I feel like the people need to hear it, then I'm going to bring it to y'all attention. What have we been hearing when Tua starts struggling? When Tua starts struggling against San Francisco, against the Chargers, we start hearing a little bit of chirping, a little bit of, rumors that Tua is a one-read quarterback and that's why he's struggling. That's what we've been hearing. Tua's a one-read quarterback, so he ain't got success no more. Like, the success is out the window because Tua is a one-read quarterback. I listened to it. I said, that's something I'm going to revisit at the end of the year because I got to go back because I couldn't remember him being a one-read quarterback. I got to go back, watch all the games over. Not just the highlights, because the highlights, you just going to see the good passes to Tyreek, Waddle, and whoever else. I need to watch every snap that Tua took to see if he's a one-read quarterback or not. I need to know for myself because that's all I'm hearing from people that I like to watch and people that I get my information from. Some that Tua is a one-read quarterback. So now I go and look at the tape. I watched every snap that Tua took, not Skyler or that Teddy Bridgewater took. I watched all of Tua's games from the first to the last game, every snap, and I intently watched to see if he was going through his reads. All right? Now, I do understand that it's not just about Tua going through his reads. It's about Tua going through his reads and pulling the trigger on the open guy. I get it. That's why some people are saying that he's a one-read quarterback. Not necessarily that he's not going through his progressions, but that he's not pulling the trigger on the open guy. I get that. But let's go ahead and dispel this right now. Tua, with my eyes, go watch it for yourself. If you have the capability, watch every game. Tua is not a one-read quarterback. Plain and simple. Now, what Tua is, okay? What Tua is a quarterback that is on script, okay? I'll break that down in a second. Tua was going through his reads. Yes, oftentimes the first read was open and he was hitting them. Does that mean that you're a one-read quarterback because your first read is open? No. That means that your first read is open. Common sense to tell you that if Tua is hitting his first read, it's because the play worked. Because your first read is your primary. Every play has a primary. Your primary, if he's your first read, he's open. That's exactly what you wanted. That's what you wanted in the play. Okay? That happened to either be Tyreek Hill or Waddle majority of the time. If they were in the play, right? That's who it was. If the guy's open, he's open. You throw him the doggone ball, right? People saying that, oh, if Tua's first read wasn't open, he was in trouble. That's a lot of quarterbacks, okay? The play is designed to get somebody open. If that first read is open and you get him the ball, that shouldn't be a problem. That shouldn't be, oh, he's not going through his progressions. The first read was open. Why am I going through my progressions if the first read is open? A lot of the time, Tua's first read was open. That's great play design. I'm not going to dock Tua for that. He wasn't going through his reads. If the first read is wide open, I'm throwing him the ball. I don't care what else could have been open. I don't have eyes in the back of my head. If they say X is going to be open here and I run a timing-based offense, which I'm about to get into, don't worry. I run a timing-based offense. If they say that this guy's going to be open here and he's open, I better pull the trigger because it's a timing-based offense. We, as a team, don't run a progression-based offense. We run a timing-based offense. When you run a progression-based offense, you look at the defense. You pick who your primary is based on what the defense is doing. All right? We've run these offenses in the past. We know what they look like. This is a West Coast timing-based offense. Timing-based offense means you're not looking at the entire defense. You're looking at a conflict player. You heard McDaniel say this a lot. There's a player that you want to put in conflict. If he does this, you do that. If he does that, you do this because you put him in conflict. You have him make a decision for you. If he goes here, I automatically have this point right here I can throw the ball to. That's why anticipation is so important, right? Because you're trusting that if he moves here, that you're going to have this guy open here. I'm throwing to a spot because it's a timing-based offense. This is not a progression-based offense. Now, you can have progression sprinkled into that, but at the core, timing-based offense. If this guy does that, I do this. If he does this, I do that. It's a this or that offense. Timing, okay? Progression is I'm reading the defense. This was supposed to be number one, but because they're shading to this side, this is now number one. Boom, that didn't work. Boom, boom, boom. I either hit this guy who happened to be open because of what the defense is doing, or I hit my check down. Progression-based offense. Some teams run both because some plays you're going to need timing and some plays it's just progression. And then some teams just run a West Coast progression style offense. When you hit your back foot, it's one hitch at most and the ball is out. Okay? Now, doesn't mean you can't go through your progression in that, because Tua did sometimes, because if the first is not open, you got to go to your second, your third, and then your check down, right? Sometimes you don't get to your fourth. First, second, third, check down. Was Tua slow in doing that at times? Of course he was. Okay? Of course he was. And a lot of quarterbacks struggle to go through, all right? And and some quarterbacks have no time to go through all those progressions. And then some quarterbacks do struggle at times to go through 2, 3, and hit the check down, right? They just struggle with that. They lock in on a guy that they think maybe getting open for a second window. All right, and what a second window is, for those that don't know, is you missed that first window, so then now you're seeing if you can get them in the second window, but by that time, you have guys pressure in your face, and then now you're either throwing the ball away or you're throwing it to your check down late because you didn't come off that guy because you were trying to wait for a second window, okay? That happened to Tua a decent amount, okay? So that's why we're like, okay, he's a one-read quarterback. But Tua's not a one-read quarterback. He just had problems at times going through his progression because there were plenty of plays where Waddle was the number 2 and he hit him, where Tyreek Hill was the number 2 and he hit him. Okay? Yes, he did hit a lot of his first reads, but that's what you're supposed to do because that's how the play is designed. That doesn't mean you're a one-read quarterback. He hit Waddle as the number 2. He hit Sherfield as the number 2 or 3 on plays a lot. He hit Craycraft as the number 2 or 3 or 4 on plays. He hit the check downs early in the season. He was hitting his check downs. He was actually throwing the ball to Mostert, Edmonds, dropping them. Okay? He was throwing the ball to these guys. He was throwing to Gesicki earlier in the year. It's when he got hot, where the offense was firing on all cylinders, is where he was really going to Tyreek Hill, going to Waddle, and they were open. He was hitting them on the first or second read. All right? These guys weren't always open on the first read. He was making the conflict player have to decide. If you're going to take my first read away, I'm going to hit my second because I'm going to move you with my eyes and my body language. Tua was doing a good amount of that. He was in his bag. He was hitting those guys. Tua is not a one-read quarterback. What Tua is, as I previously stated, is Tua is an on-script quarterback. As soon as that play is off script, Tua did not know what to do. That is the difference between Tua and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow runs a timing-based progression hybrid. When that play is off schedule, he could make the play downfield. All right? Tua, in a small box, red zone, he was able to do some things off script at times. But Tua, if it's on script, would be way more successful, and that's why he threw for 3,000 some yards, 25 touchdowns in 13 games. Because when it was on script and it was working, Tua's your guy. As soon as it was off script or you took the number 1, number 2 away, he struggled. That's where the struggle is with Tua. He's an on-script quarterback. He's an on-time quarterback. He's a timing-based quarterback. That's why they built a timing-based offense around him. If you don't like timing-based quarterbacks, that's more than half the quarterbacks in the league, then, go find you a guy that can do what Mahomes can do. It ain't many of those guys. Or what Joe Burrow can do. It ain't many of those guys. Or what Herbert can do at times. It ain't many of those guys, right? They have, in Joe Burrow's case, he's just special. But the other 2 guys I mentioned, they have the arm ability and the arm talent to go out, find a guy 60 yards downfield, crossfield, don't matter, and heave it down there. Tua's not that guy. If Tua's going to roll around back there, which we would rather him not do, we'd rather him be on time and be surgical, he's going to hit the 15-yard pass, which we've seen him do. He'll hit that 15-yard pass scrambling around. But that 60-yard pass, he's not that guy. But we don't need him to be that guy. He was scoring enough points, being able to hit his one or two. Now I understand. People are going to say, well, that's the problem, because if one or two are taken away, which is what defenses were doing, then we're just going to struggle to score points. You're right. So now Tua does need to figure out, okay, if those guys are being taken away, I can't lock in on them. I need to get that ball to my check down and live to fight another down, because he cannot hold on to the football. He's had concussions holding on to the football. That is Tua's problem. You want Tua to stop having concussions? He has to stop holding on to the football. Here's something that we don't think about when it comes to Tua and concussions, right? Tua had a concussion when he broke his hip. That same play, he had a concussion on, and he was holding on to the football too long. He had that concussion, didn't play again in college. He took rest for the rest of that year, right? It happened in November. He didn't play until the next November. Didn't have a concussion again that we know of until this season. Tua had a concussion, 19. He had more concussions in 2022, 2023. Tua, if he gets enough rest, may be fine. We may not see another concussion from Tua for years. I'm not going to sit here and worry about concussions just yet and label him as a concussion-prone quarterback when he had one in 19 and didn't have one again until 2022. And the result of all of his concussions, holding on to the football too long. He lets go of the football, then he'll have way less concussions. Plain and simple. All right? When he knows he's taking on a hit, he's able to do things with his body to make sure. I saw Tua actually fall on his back at times and keep his head up early in the season. Although in the first game of the year, he hit his head the same way he hit his head against Buffalo. 2 games later. First game of the year against Patriots. Watch all of the plays. If you watch all the plays, you'll see it. He hit his head the same way. He got up. I'm like, man, maybe he was concussing that first game, because the way he hit his head the same way he hit his head against Buffalo. But against Buffalo, it seemed to be a concussion. We don't know for sure. And against the Patriots, nothing happened as a result of it. So he was able to hit his head in that game, and he was fine in the New England game. And then he hit his head later on against Buffalo, seemed not to be fine. And then definitely against the Bengals, he definitely wasn't fine in that game, right? So earlier in the year, not as many problems, because if he can brace for it, then he knew it was coming. But when he was holding on to the football too long, trying to do things that are not in his character, he was having issues. Especially the one against the Packers, if that was the play that caused the concussion. He threw the ball to the fullback, got spun around, and fell on his back. It was completely out of the blue, nothing he could have done. Get rid of the doggone football, and I believe that Tua can have a long career. Now, does that mean that we need to go out and sign him to a multi-year contract? Heck no. That'd be stupid, right? But does that mean that Tua is not worth giving more time to? Absolutely not either. That would also be stupid. Tua, in my opinion, is a really good quarterback. I watched the season back once again, like I said, and Tua wasn't that bad. He really wasn't. He had 2 really bad games. San Francisco, Chargers, they happen to be back-to-back. And, you know, when you look at it over again, it's like some of these, the Chargers, that was really bad. But in the San Francisco game, you kind of saw what he was doing. He was trying to throw over the linebackers, so he had to sell the ball kind of high on some of those plays. And they were maybe just a tad too high, but they had to be high. There was the one that Waddle couldn't come down with. The ball had to be high because he had to get it over the linebacker's hand, who went up and couldn't get to the ball because the ball was too high, and then Waddle tried to go up and get it, and he couldn't. So there's certain things where like, man, he was just inaccurate. And it wasn't that he was inaccurate. He was throwing the ball high so that it wouldn't get picked off. So some of the things that we were thinking, when you rewatch it, you're like, okay, I saw what he was thinking to do on that play, and that's why that play ended up being like that, right? So we were being too hard on him to begin with. So when it comes to Tua, I'm rolling with Tua. I'm giving him one more year. If he struggles, I'm cutting bait. Moving on, we'll go on to somebody else. But he's definitely worth keeping him to find out for one more year what he's got, because, boy, he showed some special stuff. When things are on schedule, nobody was better. Anticipation out of this world, accuracy out of this world when he was on schedule. We fortify the offensive line even more. We have a consistent run game. He gets rid of the football. We'll see great numbers, great play from Tua all year long. Yeah, he'll have his one or two bad games, and he'll definitely sprinkle in bad plays, interception-worthy plays from time to time, because sometimes he just has a brain fart. Like, he just thinks that he could do certain things that he can't do, or he'll make a play. That's going to happen with every quarterback. He's not perfect. But overall, we can win a lot of games. And I'm talking about 12, 13 games with Tua if he can get rid of the football, because he's not a one-read quarterback. He's just a guy that is on time. If you can keep him on time and you can work that around somehow, some way, then you have something. And even if he's not on time, if Tua can learn to get the check down earlier or to throw the ball away, he'll be fine, because he just needs to live to fight another down. That's the thing that Tua needs to learn, is to live to fight another down. I'll holler at y'all in the next one. Please put in the comment section if you agree with me, and if you don't agree with me, please give me concrete evidence why he's a one-read quarterback, and then we can talk about it in the chat. I'll holler at y'all in the next one. I got plenty of videos coming up. Trust me. Plenty of videos are coming. We still got to do a breakdown of the season. Got to give you my grades, all that. It's coming. I'll holler at y'all. Love y'all like soul food. I'm out.